Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back through daily crypto news and analysis, and today we are going to be talking about Casper, or Casper network, if you will. And I'm very excited for what the future has to hold for this asset. In terms of the market, a lot of people are questioning, are we pretty much at the bottom point? Have we bottomed out? And honestly speaking, in terms of Bitcoin, I don't think that we have, solid validation just yet. I think if we do lose about 58K, we will target 53K fairly fast. So I am waiting to ape in a little bit more on Casper. I did buy, I told you guys when I did buy, but roughly around $2,000 just the other day on that dip. So in terms of this market, we are still fairly bleeding. The entire market is red. If we're looking at the top, 24-hour span, a lot of assets are doing fairly good. We already know that Crypto.com has announced some good news today, so obviously them being up about 15.88% is totally fine. But in terms of what's down, we are seeing pretty much blood throughout most of the market. There's not a lot of assets that are actually green. But nonetheless, I do want to talk to you guys more so about Casper, because Casper has been holding the line fairly strong. We're going to be talking about that, as well as talking about some other fun things, including the ecosystem and stuff like that. So without further ado, before we fully jump into this video, I just want to ask, if you guys are new to the channel, definitely consider subscribing, turning notifications on. If you guys aren't new or new, definitely hit that like button, as it does help the channel grow. Thank you all, and I do greatly appreciate it. Also, until this Saturday, we still have the Ultimate Crusader Trading Bundle Pack on sale for 20% off, or $20 off currently. This is a limited time only sale. After this Saturday, I will possibly do another sale in Monday, which will last 1 week as well. So definitely keep a close eye out on that for sure. And also, there is a ton of other content on here. You guys don't have to get the Ultimate Crusader Trading Bundle Pack. It is just the best deal for your dollar, because it does include everything on the site, as well as all feature content for free. So definitely look into that if you guys are interested. Now, let's talk about Casper. So again, I've been talking to you guys about this entire project for a little bit of time, and I've been doing pretty much daily uploads on it now, because I do want you all to understand exactly how undervalued this asset is. There's a ton of ecosystemal growth that is happening within this, pretty much asset. And of course, in terms of the Casper Labs ecosystem, you guys could see a lot of their partners on the screen right now. You could see a lot of their DeFi slash, centralized finance as well, wallet providers active building on Casper, as well as the developers and validators and staking pools. There is a ton of ecosystemal growth that is happening within the Casper Labs ecosystem, and I'm very excited for the future as well, in terms of how much this could grow. Now, we always compare Casper to, for example, Ethereum. Okay, at Ethereum's price, we would be at an almost $200 price evaluation, with an upside of 1,313x. And everybody's like, well, why is it called Ethereum 3.0? Why are we comparing it to Ethereum at all? And why do I personally think that we could easily do, some sort of price movement like this in the future? Because we're not talking about this bull run hitting these prices or anything like that. Well, it's fairly simple. So let's listen in to Ashton Addison's interview with Meta. I hope to say her name right, but Parliker. In 2019, Casper, whose roots are very strong, started to bear fruit. Project designed for Casper Web 3.0. We call it Ethereum 3.0. What does it mean? It means a project that the new world needs. And listen closely to this interview.
That's great, Meta. And for those developers that are looking to get involved, what is the long-term vision that they should see from your team in 2 years from now? What does Casper Labs look like? Is the mainnet running? We see a scalable Ethereum. What else would we see as the project comes to fruition?
Yeah, definitely we see mainnet running in 2 years. I'm very optimistic that that will happen, and we will see a lot of something very similar to Ethereum, I think, that does provide scale. You'll see fantastic developer tools. I take user experience very seriously, and I believe that the user experience is somewhat lackluster. I hope to see great and broad support for mobile accounts and mobile wallets. The ability to store private keys on a mobile device is seminal, I think, for a dApp developer. You'll see great tools for middleware, both putting information on the blockchain, but equally importantly, getting information out of the blockchain. I think that right now you kind of send your transactions to Ethereum and they kind of just disappear into, they land on the blockchain, but getting any state information out of the global computer is very difficult. So we see ourselves as building a fantastic ecosystem for developer tools and dApp developer tools, as well as a growing adoption of the blockchain and new and great features such as homogeneous sharding and side chains.
And this is exactly why I personally love Casper, because when we're looking at Ethereum currently, okay, at scale, Ethereum is essentially unusable. And it's not me trying to FUD on Ethereum or, be biased on Casper. No, it's seriously unusable due to the gas fees. But considering the fact that Casper is a scalable Ethereum-based pretty much asset, okay, that's why we call it Ethereum 3.0, because of the gas fees that are, one, predictable, and they're fairly much lower than Ethereum, one, but also two, we also see sharding and stuff like that being implemented onto the ecosystem, which will allow it to scale a lot more efficiently and much higher than most people actually think the scalability will be, because we already talked about sharding within the Hedera ecosystem as well, which is incredible. And that's why I personally believe in the long-term vision here for Casper. It's a developer-friendly asset. It's going to provide a lot of incentives for developers as well, and it's going to provide immense value, especially as we move forward on into a Web 3.0 world. And this was 2019. Since 2019, Casper has grown their ecosystem well beyond the means of what she was essentially saying. And in terms of the ecosystem right now, it looks extremely strong, and I'm very excited for the ecosystem to continue to prosper like that. Now we also see here that's how early we are in Casper, with $350 million market cap and the whole layer 1 ecosystem staying behind it. It's a matter of weeks when we fill that gap. Expect a parabolic move way beyond that, just like Luna, AVAX, Solana, XRD have done it. Don't sleep on Casper, okay? And he's shown us this major move to about $1, which is essentially, from the current price of 15 cents almost, a 562% move, okay? And of course, he is saying here, this is the exact opportunity you have now with Casper Network as you had with AVAX, Solana, KDA, ADA, or any other most promising Layer 1 project. Casper, just a $350 million market cap. X's will be made here. And of course, they're talking about all these Twitter accounts, praying for an AVAX dip to accumulate. You had 15 months. And it's the same for Casper, okay? We've had so long to pretty much, accumulate this asset. And we're going to be talking about, the chart real quick and really kind of talk about the overall target points that I currently have. Now, in terms of Casper, we also see today we are going to be, or this was actually yesterday, but we've seen an update with the overall Web 3.0 crypto mass adoption moment. In terms of this, we are going to be seeing the Web 3.0 adoption, continuing to grow within the Casper network. We've discussed this multiple times, and we are so early considering the fact that not a lot of people actually understand just how big Casper is yet. Not a lot of people are actually talking about it. I'm not too big of a YouTuber or anything like that compared to most, but I haven't seen too many names in the game talking about Casper at all. So I am proud to be one of the only main crypto YouTubers or influencers that are talking about this asset on a day-to-day basis, because the potential that this has is immense. And I think that the upside potential here in terms of an ROI view is extremely high. Now, also we do see here, I think Casper, Gemini, FTX, Binance, and Coinbase listing will happen soon. Yeah, and we're not listed on major exchanges. I mean, we are listed on a few, but we're not listed on these major exchanges, which, again, by the way, if we get a Binance listing, just think about how huge that would be, or even just a Gemini, right? Because we've discussed Gemini, we've talked about Binance, we've talked about a possible Coinbase listing. FTX would be huge as well. Any one of these four, could you imagine if all four happened this year as well? But just imagine just one of these, being brought into fruition, and just imagine the upside potential there. Also, we are seeing a lot of growth in terms of the social volume. We are seeing a lot more social engagement as well. We could pretty much see that in terms of we were alt rank number 2 here when we were really kind of jumping out, which was great to see. We had about $5.1 million in volume, which wasn't much, I understand, but in terms of our market cap, that was a fairly significant amount. Currently sitting at about $101 million in volume on the 24-hour span. Again, it's nothing too crazy in terms of the social volume just yet, but me being one of the top influencers for this project, as you guys do see here, I'm number 2, just tells me how early we are, because I'm not anywhere near a huge Twitter influencer, if you will. But in terms of what's happening with the social engagement, we are seeing a lot more social engagement when we do jump out. Besides that, we don't have too much social engagement here. It's actually fairly bare minimum, if you will. And in terms of social dominance, we are still fairly low here. There is a few social contributors. Average sentiment and bullish sentiment are kind of still low. So I do predict that we will have a lot more social growth very soon in terms of price growth, because right now, as you guys do see, that line that I drew the other day before we had this massive breaking point above our 13 centile range, look at where we are testing multiple times now. This is major support. Yeah, sure, we could pretty much drag this down just a little bit or a hair, but it looks fairly good. We're holding fairly strong, especially even with Bitcoin kind of doing its thing. If we could have a nice Bitcoin pretty much reversal here soon to possibly $66,000 plus, that would be absolutely massive. But I do think that we're probably going to range on a little bit here for a little bit of time. But I'm expecting Casper to have a massive breaking point very soon. In terms of where we could see, I'm expecting at least $1 billion in market cap at least. Very soon, which would take us to about 40 cents. Now, like I said, this is much more than a $1 billion asset. This only puts us in the top 100. If we make it to the top 50, just if we break it into, Avi's position, which let's just look at where we would be if we were comparing this to Avi right now. So we would actually be at about $1.45, which is totally fine. Almost takes us to about a 10x from our current position, 870% of a move up. I'm totally fine with $1.45. In fact, I would actually welcome this fairly easily. Now, if we're talking top 25, we're looking at Axie, and at Axie's overall market cap, look at how high this asset could actually run. This is a 22x. We would be worth about $3.51 each, and look at the price that we are at. There's a ton of ROI, percentages that we could really kind of look at. Now, of course, like I said, we will essentially get to Ethereum's market cap at some point in time in the future, especially once this ecosystem is fully built out. And, of course, scaling a huge bunch of dApps and use cases that are brought to the ecosystem. But until then, we're not going to see Ethereum's market cap just yet. And it's going to take a few years, if you will. Most likely by maybe the next bull run, we will see $100 possibly for Casper. We know that the ICO all-time high is roughly around $40 to $66. Now, in terms of where I could see it, I've said that $4 to $7 is possible this bull run. At $4, we would be worth about $10.1 billion in market cap, or 26x. And then, of course, at $7, we could essentially see a 46x. We would be worth about a $17.7 billion market cap. And if we are expecting, say for so Bitcoin, because I know a lot of people are saying Bitcoin to 200K, I'm not so much expecting it to do, run to 200K myself. But if we do see that, right, just imagine how much money will flow into a lot of these altcoins. But we know that Casper, when she moves, she could really move very fast. In fact, just the other day, if we're talking about the bottom of this candle from the 14th to the topping point here, we did about a 50% run, or 48% run, if you will, almost 49% run, in just a matter of 2 days. So, right now, currently, we are still up from those buys back here. If you were buying back here, about 25%. If you were buying when I told you to, essentially you are up about 55%, which is fairly good. from even the lower support zones at around 10.5 cents, you were still up about 42.39%. And I do expect this, like I said, to go much higher. The percentage wise from these current levels is astronomically high. So I'm very excited for the future of this asset. I'm very excited for the future growth of this ecosystem. But with that being said, I hope that you all enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on. If you guys want more free content, you guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, I hope that you all have a beautiful day or beautiful night wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.